Right now we're at the Alabama Bigfoot and Paranormal Campout, hosted by Jonathon Odom. Made a bunch of new friends already this weekend, and we're heading to the famous location where a hunter was killed and placed against a tree. They said all his limbs were ripped off, and there's actually bruising that shows that something strong gripped his body. It's definitely under the radar, but one of the best, craziest stories I've heard. Had some mild activity last night.
It will go up about probably 100 yards and this to the right. Over 30 years, terrain changes, so we can get this probably within at least 20 yards of it. If one of these big trees that puts the right and looks to get to the top of the hill. And that's the thing with dealing with something that's 30 years old. Terrain changes.
Even just being able to find that specific camp is big, you know?
Well, they had the GPS written on the reports that I read, so that's how I knew about how to get close to it. And it's 20 yards off this road, too.
Are you the first person to like break this case, or have you heard it through just the mountains as well?
No, the Forest Service people told me about it. It was never publicized, not on any news. The medical examiner was in on it, but it just was kind of hush-hush.
Wow.
Found in 4 different pieces, signature marks, no teeth marks, no chewing like an animal would do. That clay.
Clay, but sometimes you can find like fossils in between the layers.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're not in a hurry. We're going to just go around over here.
But you know, it won't be the first time I come up with this.
I found these awesome fern fossils one time in a creek bed, and like my eyes couldn't even believe it because it looked like a shadow, you know? You're like,
Yeah.
whoa. And I pick it up and it's like a crazy fossil.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
A hunting club close to where we live, I found a pink quartz arrowhead. It was beautiful. It was big. It was perfect.
That is perfect. That's treasure.
And continue. And it had an attachment to it.
Whoa.
A really bad attachment.
Yeah.
And,
I messed up on that word within 48 hours.
and Jonathon knew about it before I did. You know, he never saw it. I was talking to him on the phone. He said, there's a bad spirit on that thing. You gotta destroy it.
Whoa.
You gotta get rid of it. So I, you know, continued to bind and everything. I don't know if you know about that. Put it in a bottle and seal it to get rid of it. I go to seal the bottle catches on fire.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. I call Jonathon and Christian and I'm like, something's wrong with this thing. The bottle is on fire. This is a regular blue milk magnesia bottle.
Yeah.
And it's on fire. So he said, continue to seal it. Then you need to take it somewhere and smash that arrowhead into pieces, throw it in water and get it away from you. Well, the creek at our road is about a half a mile away, and it just rained, so it's flowing good. So I set the thing down. The thing rolled away from me. It's fighting me. I finally get back to it. I get the hammer. Actually, it was Dave's tomahawk, the other side of it. And I smashed it, threw the pieces into the creek. By the time I walked back to the house, granted this half a mile, all the water on that whole street shut off.
Whoa.
All of it. Dave said, what did you do with that arrowhead?
I'm glad you took care of it within time, because if Jonathon wasn't on top of things, who knows where that could have.
And he felt it from where he was.
Wow.
But yeah, everybody's water was shut off.
20 yards away. Connor, I was telling them he was facing this way. It's one of these trees. I don't know which one it is. Because it was that 30 years ago. It might have been that big pine tree. But he was found this side. He was hunting toward the road. His back was this way. Rounded his gun. Nothing shot. So who knows? Right here. So if, let's say this is the tree for the sake. When I put the GPS coordinates, it comes in this area. About a 50-foot radius. So maybe it was one of these. And with the tree fall, where the forest is, but he was facing toward the road because he had told some of his brothers what he was doing. There was a lot of blood, but it wasn't blood like splatter. It was more from the trauma of the wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Just facing this, because I knew when I looked at the mock-up of the draw, they had a little crime scene thing. It was this way, that way.
What's the closest waterway to here, like creeks or rivers?
Well, it's usually they like the high ground. So there's a little stream that comes through there.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes, when we walk up, you'll see the Greenfield goes up to the back of the mountain. The Pinhoti comes over the top. And it's just the bottom, you know. But there's plenty of ways you could approach without knowing, without giving, tactically, no. I mean, I could approach it without nobody knowing I hear it in a heartbeat.
Right.
And that's the way they do.
Did the autopsy report that it was a tearing, or was it a cutting?
There was no autopsy.
They didn't do nothing.
It was but there was lignature parts on the arms and then one or two of the legs. Like
wow.
Like if you have a defensive lignature marks, pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And apparently, I talked to one of the assistants that was part of it. Apparently, it was real deep bruising. You know, a chimpanzee can rip your arm off very easily. And there's videos where they've ripped people's, you know, so the arm strength's there. I know, it's one of them things you're never really going to know about. It's a little blip in history. A couple of years ago, I used to live in Blount County, my first marriage. I used to do a lot of genealogy, and there was this man that had, his name was J.W. Rice, and he lived in the St. Clair County, or Blount County area. When in 1920s, one of his workers was found in his well. 4 head chopped off, 1, 2, 3, 4 thrown in there. And I went on a property a couple of years to kind of ask about it, and they told me just to get off the property. But if you look in the 20s, there were several killers in America that were doing the same type of modus operandi. This guy was a vagrant. He was African American, didn't have any family. So what I did with genealogy, I started looking at all of the cemeteries around where he died. Even went to the colony. The colony is outside Coleman. The colony is an African American community. People don't realize it was burned out like 30 times the last 60 years, but you never heard of it.
Wow.
So I have not been able to find this guy in any cemetery, so that means he's put in an unmarked grave. And so what led me on this crazy quest with this is I was reading the newspaper articles. I think it was 1920s, and there was this little 2-paragraph blurb, local African American man found in well. And it talked about that he worked for Mr. Rice. He was found in the well. And then the last one gave me chills. It says none of his kind knew who he was, so, and it was ... 1920s. And so I was like, holy shit, this is dropped in my lap. And you know, it made you wonder why. And then I started researching it, and then I couldn't find the grave. And it's another one of these why mysteries. You'll never know the why. But this man was murdered in Blount County, and horribly murdered. You know, so. But that's close to Jack Cole Road that I did my first videos of.
Wow. And there's tons of those stories. I'm sure there's tons of bodies in these mountains.
You might have got a brick. If you were if you were from, you might would have got a brick for a headstone. But
I did investigation at Colony. It's an African American town. It's kind of like the colony that's outside Mobile, the Freetown. And they had Bigfoot. They had got a dumpster. They had just become incorporated in the 60s. The mayor was African American. He said, Mr. Odom, I went and threw that trash out at that council meeting, and that thing got out of the trash can, stepped over it, and he looked just like me, but he's black and had a lot of hair. And he saw this thing, and he would see it all the time. But it never did get out in the community until I got involved in it, and one person seen it, 3 person, and then you got, okay, something's here, you know. And so in the Bigfoot world, there's a lot of wines like that, you know, and you know that, chasing stuff that you chase.
Definitely.
Any questions?
So when did this take place here? When was this?
Late 80s.
Okay.
That time period. The family lives within 200 miles here.
Of the guy who was family.
Yeah. There's also a Skinwalker Ranch within 10 miles of this place. Know about it, been on it a couple of times. Weird Bigfoot, but most of it's paranormal, weird shit in the woods, seeing shimmering. When I first started Bigfoot, one of the rangers told me don't ever go toward the square in the woods. It's like a shimmering. I've seen it a couple of times. It's weird. I don't go toward it. Maybe that's what Paulie's talking about.
Yeah.
Is that what Dave saw, you think?
I don't know. Maybe.
It was weird.
But people don't realize that you can. When my first 3 years Bigfoot, me, Jim, Bill Roser, and John, we would be out in the woods and we'd be 60 feet apart. We'd have night vision. And there was a guy one time over in Talladega National Forest, like Bill's here and I'm here, and we would look at each other because we would do tactics like I did in the agent. So we'd look at each other and we'd have infrared on, we'd have infrared light, and we'd flash it 3 times. I can see the infrared, but nobody else can. And he kept mentioning, and I texted him, what's going on? And he said, there's a guy between me and you. And I get my flashlight on, I want to turn my light off and get him. He's not showing up on him. And I turned my light on, and he's got a hat, a Stetson, he's got like a duster, like a mule driver. It was dark, seen him for about 5 seconds, then boop, he's gone. I was like, how the fuck did you see that? And then we saw that about 2 seconds later, we saw a light go through the woods. I was like, what the fuck is this?
What does this guy look like?
Like a mule driver from the 1800s. Like with the duster, you know, they'd have the leathers on because they would be driving the mules. They looked just like that.
Think it was a ghost?
Oh yeah, definitely. Wow. He couldn't get away from us. There's no way in hell he's that fast. Especially with night vision and everything else. So.
Where'd you get that cubed UFO?
That was Creepy Mountain.
Creepy
right
Mountain.
Number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have y'all seen that one? I need to show you my cube UFO. JPL Labs are real interesting. The new form of sightings with UFOs are fixing to be these little cube UFOs. And I was lucky. I ain't skilled. I know I'm not lucky that I got that one. But I had a guy running a thermal that night that saw everything in the world, and he gets thermals. And I'm like, dude, I got something else happening over here.
Yeah, those are nice.
It's amazing.
Yep.
It's a cool video.
So we'll come up here and we're gonna go up this green field. I've had some weird shit happen up here too. It's cool. But yeah, this is tactically. They found him probably around 9 or 10:30 that night. So he sit here.
So was he just hunting and then
Yeah.
he just didn't show back up at the house and just came out looking for him?
And they said, "Uh-oh, coming, yeah."
And they knew where he was hunting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he told everybody. It was real common knowledge.
Smart. You're supposed to do that.
There's
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
and there was a chambered round. Had a firearm, but what's I gonna do?
He just
It
snuck up
happened
on
that
him.
fast.
I wonder what he did, because
He
if he
probably-
didn't shoot at him,
Yeah, because there was no shells, no
Yeah.
expended shells. So I don't know. Who knows? But there's if I believe in a scary Bigfoot, it's in this area. Of all the areas I've been through the Southeast, it's right here.
maybe he aimed at a child playing and then 2 of them ripped him apart. That's why I'm wondering if it was 1 ripped him apart or 2 at the same time, because all 4.
I think he probably realized it happened when it was happening, like a line attack. You
Yeah.
don't realize attacks happen until you're getting your ass beat.
Yep.
Yeah, let's go over here. We'll get a better vibe.
So this is the Bigfoot murder location.
Back up to a wall.
Possibly these trees in a 50-foot radius. Very cool.
Here last night with him. You was here last night with him. I done been up here the road about daybreak. The dogs lost.
As you guys know, they follow the ferns.
Big orange light. I don't know how big they are because it was above me, but all the way around underneath it, and then under the dome itself, it's changing colors.
Wow.
Like multiple colors, like almost like watching a kaleidoscope.
Yeah. Right in front of your eyes. And it was more like metallic than a than an energy type thing.
Yeah, it was metallic.
Okay. Wow. And you were 12 years old.
Yep, I'm 58 now.
What does your family think about it? Like, what was their reaction to it?
Oh, everybody looked at it like, oh, so there's one, you know.
Yeah.
There's the UFO. Okay, now I got it.
What about like after? Were they were open about talking about it, or?
We never went into it. I mean, we mentioned it a couple times, but it was never like a topic of discussion at the table.
Yeah.
Everybody just kind of took it like a grain of salt.
Yep. And I don't know if that's like the phenomenon does that, or if it's just the human way, you know. I don't know if they program us to just, be chill about it. Or it's just their survival mechanism in our instincts and soul.
Yeah.
It's like, this is bigger than you. If you don't want to just evaporate, just breathe. Hey, I think my foot is probably going to open up, sadly.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah.
That's why I got the...
Is it hurting?
No, it's not hurting. I'm just being real. I'm trying to walk as soft as possible,
That's why
but
I got Transform on it because it's gonna open.
but that's what it's supposed to do eventually, right?
You don't want an open wound to the air because bacteria can get in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you want to keep it covered and clean.
They gave me that Benadryl cream we can put on it too after, if you think that will work. Or maybe I should just take the Benadryl pill.
Take the pill.
Okay.
Don't put nothing else on your pill. Yeah.
That was a deer trail.
Yeah, cutting through probably a one right over here too.
Mm.
You heard the phenomenon about spicy deer or not deer before?
No.
It's like a new type of cryptid, swamp dweller. He's a scary storyteller. He's been doing a lot of good work on them, but they're like deer, but they're not deer. So there's one thing off. Either their legs are inverted, legs are twisted, neck is, curved a weird way. They have fangs, but then I've heard stories of.
Yeah. I'll be back.
I heard stories of one getting shot in the chest, going down, getting back up, and then screaming like a man at one of my friends up in Georgia. And then I heard a story that one guy shot one, downed it, kill shot. It got back up on two legs and ran away.
Spicy?
So, spicy deer or not deer? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not deer.
Yeah, just not deer. But I always say spicy deer first, just because like not deer just sounds so weird that you'd be like, did I hear that right?
They think, what kind of spice?
Right. But every time I look at deer now, I'm like, And maybe it's just a version of like a skinwalker or like a Wendigo or something, or shapeshifter. But it's interesting. So even deer hooves and goat hooves now, it's like, what is what?
The ravine there. So I like here because it gives them pretty much 100% cover to come to me unrestricted. And then I'll do color lights to try to get them to at least look the direction. If I get them looking, I can get them from it. It's all theory, 1% success rate. It sucks, but it's fun.
You play
But you'll-
music sometimes?
Huh?
Play music, bring them in.
What kind of music they like?
They like Chet Atkins' Blessed Assurance.
Really?
They will, that creepy mountain, they will, after that song, 10, 15 seconds later, who had been telling me about the Samurai Talk and never heard it before. I got about 30 seconds of footage of it going like a mumbling, and it's the weirdest shit. It's not the first time I saw juvenile eyes. You know, you're fine with a big Bigfoot going through the woods. You don't really think that maybe they breed, they have kids, all this. And Creepy Mountain was another place I saw these eyes shine at the edge of a dam. It goes down 20 feet, give or take a couple of feet. And then I was watching the eyes, they were blinking, kind of like what y'all saw. And then a set of eyes below it started blinking. And this one's like this, and these are like, and I was like, fuck. Because that night we had a fire. The guy told me, he said they're not going to come in unless we had a fire, didn't have no equipment running. And that was weird. And here I've seen the eyes shine, but it's hard to place because you know they're on the back side of the hill. And what they'll do is I'll be filming here and they'll start goofing off here. Oh, fuck. My friends in North Carolina will film here, 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 and here. So, and even then, they're tactically. You know, I work with SEALs, work with Delta Force, Rangers, Marine Recon, and all of them, and they're good. These guys are on a whole nother level. Because they've got the 5 senses. They've got smell, sight, hearing. And when we get to a campsite, a lot of times, like in men's hunting camp, I'll take a wood block, because I played the drums, and I'll hit it 3 times. Bam, bam, bam. I did it for years. What I'm trying to do is condition it.
They ever answered you back?
Huh?
They ever answered you?
No, but what I'm trying to do is get them to, if they're in the area and they hear pow, 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 and they hear my truck, they kind of association.
Like a feed truck, kind of.
Exactly, Pavlov's dog. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Man's Hunting Camp is the place you need to go. We've been out in the open. We've been on top of a hill with a clear cut. We've had a 500 view yards, nothing than 500 yards, and we hear a footwear crank up beside us. And we're like, we scared when the thermal is nothing. They can mimic. I mean, I've heard them do little.
Cicada.
Of course, a fox can sound like a little child too. And then we were in the graveyard that I'd been to years ago, and Kristen found 5 or 6 more graves on the other side. You know, because of the cover. The cover changes a lot with Bigfoot hunting. That's why I use the thermal. It cuts through this. Once summer gets here, you can only see a certain amount into the woods.
Yep.
Thermal's good, but you still can't. You know.
And the woods change with every season, so you never know what you're gonna find.
I've went to sleep up here filming, and I've always felt real comfortable here because I feel like I'll have the trucks pointed this way, keys in it. Just never know. And then when I first started, in my tactical life, my first set I had to be so disciplined that you start getting the fear, and you start off, what is that? And then you hear something. And I'm learning as you're in the woods, and people don't spend a lot of time in the woods. Like last night, when I got my thermal, I was thinking, you know, okay, I'm gonna get this thermal, and Bigfoot is fucking behind everywhere. And you get it, and you see that noise. It sounds like Bigfoot's actually a wood mouse popped this big. And he's like stomping through the wood. Yeah.
Or it's an armadillo rolling around. So lots of those. A possum.
I just had 4 or 5 people pull guns on me. 3 or 4 over on Midway Road where I'm going to take you guys. I'm going to put your fucking gun up. I mean, you're not going to shoot this thing. You're shooting me. I've had that happen a lot. It's fun. I've had adventures with these things. Right, KK? We've had a lot of adventures. I broke 2 axles in trucks. I come upon I'm like Connor. I will go down a forest road, and I come up on this Forest Service road, and I look on the map. It's this big. Well, that was a 3/4 of a mile in my truck, and they never finished the Forest Service road that connected to the main one. So I went and walked it, and I'm like, I can do this. Got all the way to the road, and I got to the road, and there was a big fucking ditch. Fuck. So I hit it at an angle, bam, cracked that the axle. Dread and telling KK. Holy shit.
Your ass is grass.
Oops.
We got 115 people watching live right now.
See, this is a good cell. This is a good area to check phones too. Cell coverage. That's why I come here a lot. Yeah. Good cell coverage.
Yes.
Even if something attacks you, you don't have to talk about it.
Call 911.
Exactly. Call 911. Maybe they'll hear you.
Look at that little smile.
Awesome.
He's sitting up on his own, really.
Did you read home, KK?
I did not. It's charging.
Aww.
We definitely got to get a group camp out picture
Yeah.
by the fire today. Well, this afternoon, so it's not too dark.
Absolutely. When we do potluck,
Yeah.
we'll do that.
Yeah, well, let's head back. We'll head back. This is fun at night up here. It kind of because it's kind of remote.
You can see the stars.
Does it keep going or?
No. Well, right here you can see the top of the ridge right here. It goes around and it comes down and connects the property to the right, to the left, which is private property. They have a gate on that side.
Oh, so there's like a second barrier.
Yeah. Well, it goes a little ways, comes through and then it comes out on their property. And there's a gate there. But this just comes up here. So you just need to get off there. Well, yeah.
It was destructive. I mean, it was horrible.
It was not healthy for me at all.
Yeah, what
It got to the point where we were punching grannies and kicking babies. And, I mean, no, just stop. Don't
And most of
comment.
these people are people that's never been in the woods.
Yeah.
And they got to get in the woods and they
They going to Oak Mountain in the woods, right?
Yes, that's it.
You ever see any canebrake, timber rattlesnake up here?
It's like,
I've never.
Connor, I couldn't do it again if I tried. Oh, he's on camera now. He's just on camera.
Have you?
Yeah, now I'm watching.
You'd be more lucky to see a rat snake or a black snake.
Hognose and canebrake are my two that I've been trying to see recently.
Okay.
I filmed coral, I filmed eastern diamondback, water moccasin,
Yeah, lots of those.
all those, and a pygmy rattlesnake. So I've done all those, and now I need hognose, and I need it. Hognose and a canebrake rattlesnake.
Excellent.
Thing with
Talking
it.
about it, it'll show up.
Yeah. Well, the pygmy rattlesnake. I feel like I manifested that.
What's your wife's name? Well, what's your wife's name? Jennifer?
Jennifer.
Jennifer, okay, good.
Yeah.
I thought it was her. Tonight we're going to get in a big circle and we're going to hum.
Eric, where you live?
Huh?
Where do you live now?
Odomville.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, just like 15 minutes from Asheville where he lives.
Oh, wow. Do you hunt?
I haven't got to, no. I got to know him and saw all the stuff, so I decided to come and check it out, you know.
Very cool. Where's the farthest you've been from here in the world?
All over U.S., just not outside.
Oh, wow. Have you been to like Canada ever back in the day?
Well, I've been at the border, but we didn't go across. I can't remember why.
Gotcha.
Something going on. I think that's when we were in Detroit.
Yeah, right across the border from Windsor.
Yeah.
Go over to the casino, win some money. Yeah, I grew up in Cleveland, so I was closer to Canada than my own state capital, you know? You had to, of course, go on the boat across it, but it was closer.
Mm-hmm.
How long were you out in, like, Texas, New Mexico, that, you know, southwestern part of the country?
Yeah, I lived in Texas.
Oh, wow.
Twice.
Where at in Texas?
Texarkana and San Antonio.
Very cool. You know, of course, the story of the town that's dreaded sundown, you know, in Texarkana, the Phantom Killer.
Oh, yeah.
If you can't go on Lover's Lane, you know, with your loved one, or else it's done for. But yeah, I've been through Texarkana and Tyler, Texas, Dallas, Texas. I love El Paso. That's my favorite city in Texas that I've been to. Just because one side you got Mexico, the other side you got the beautiful cliffs, and it's just paradise, the Red Rock.
I did a big job in New Mexico. We went over the border to eat.
Uh-huh.
One of the guys that was with us was an Asian guy,
Yeah.
but he was tall and he was American Asian, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't, I don't think he spoke native language.
Right.
But of course he had darker skin and dark black hair.
Uh-huh.
Well, we walked in fine. We started to go back out there, like questioning him, like who you or where you from and all this stuff.
A lot of these
They just let us walk
fields,
through.
if you look on the topo maps, there were houses at one time.
Really?
So when they convert the forest, The land, the last person that owns the land is usually grandfathered in, and then when they die, it goes back to the state. And so the old topo maps, when you look at these sites, a lot of them, the 1890s and the 1920s country maps actually show buildings, because there wasn't that many buildings because it was not very settled. This one shows a building up there, so that might be somewhere you can go do a EVP at.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Because of course it's not there anymore, but a lot of them, there's old chimney foundations.
Or even just metal detecting, you know?
Yes, oh yeah.
Because back in the day, you couldn't trust the banks, so they would bury their silver. And a lot of people actually put a fake brick in their chimney because that was the last place people would look.
It's a very real
so
thing.
so check the chimneys.
A lot of metal detectors do that.
Yep. That's
And
what
metal
I've.
detectors now are getting so powerful and reasonable.
Yeah.
Just like the thermal cameras are getting reasonable and powerful.
Yep. Yeah, technology's catching up now that it's not, you know.
That's what I was
through the
telling
roof.
him. Me and Kristen are going to get one of them Sunroar dirt bikes, 70-mile range, has the pedals in case you want to pedal, and charges in 40 hours, not 40, 3 hours, and top speed of 35, 40 mile an hour.
Wow.
Then we could get back some areas.
Yep.
Back then.
Yeah, that would be clutch.
But then it'd be my luck, it'd drain the damn battery. That's a pedal up.
Pedal back, yeah.
Hold on, Bigfoot, give me a 20 yard head start.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready. And he's like, look. Let's give you a head start. 20 feet to go.
All my glyph people can transcribe that. Sometimes the ancient ruins.
Oh, they marked the area.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Follow the pine cone. Our third eye is the shape of this. Ancient frequencies. Seashells, brain waves, and space waves.
That's pretty cool.
I could get revenge on John too for the ice cube. It's the golden ratio. Seashells, brain waves, the real cosmic universe. Probably the map as well.
A little away from the middle, maybe.
Never mind.
Yeah. We don't want people to think that.
Some action shots.
Yep.
And bro, you live in Pensacola. Any strange stories you've had over there growing up?
I've only been there about a couple months, so not really.
Where are you from originally?
Colorado.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that last night. That holds even more strange stuff. Have you ever been to the Denver airport?
I have, yeah.
You've seen the weird paintings and the...
I've heard this conspiracy theories about it.
Yeah.
About the floors underground and all that.
Yup, underground base, and then the horsemen, you know, and all the paintings that were showing the future. Pretty next level.
Pretty crazy.
Did you grow up skiing and snowboarding in Colorado?
I used to snowboard every weekend. As a kid, I'd go to if you're in Colorado, go to Bailey. There's a outpost there where they document sightings.
Wow.
So I used to try to go up there as much as I could.
Very cool. You ever ski and snowboard at Vail before?
I have not.
Wow, my dad used to go like every year, and now there's a lot of missing people cases there. So I'm like diving deep into it, and it would have been, you know, next level if you're like, yeah, man, I saw a weird portal when I hit jump.
Oh, that'd be insane.
But like golf, disc golf, snowboarding, like all those leisure sports that take place outside, like I feel like Bigfoot is always around the corner, lurking, watching.
Oh yeah. It's pretty cool to think. So you think they're, I don't know, feel like if I was a Bigfoot, I'd probably rest during the day, don't you think?
Yeah, stay cool.
At night.
Yep. There's no activity during the night. They're kings of the forest, you know, they have the advantage. Yeah, they're gonna save most of their energy during the day. But
did you hear that call last night at midnight?
From you guys, or?
Yeah, we were making calls, or Jonathan was. We waited the coyotes went off, so we're like, all right.
I did hear the coyotes, yeah.
Right after that, sounded like a coyote, but it was like prolonged. It wasn't like a yippering like a coyote, and it was off in that direction.
Huh.
I thought he called Mr. Inns. I guess so. Trimming, but he caught trimming, didn't he? I thought all of it.
I thought so.
Oh, wow. Long time ago.
Yeah, it was a minute ago.
Well, we're gonna get over here, and we're gonna take this one lady over here. So, but we'll see a little bit later.
Okay.
What's the word, Boo? Hear any squatches last night? Yeah. Last night, something was burning really bad on my foot. I thought I got bit by a snake or something, but it's looking gnarly. A little swelled up. That's what I was buzzing on last night. Yeah. Check out this amazing breakfast that Blue-Eyed Northern fixed for us. Jody's turning it away. But look at this. It doesn't get much better. On the back of the tailgate, living large. Cooking breakfast at the Odom Camp.
But I'm still have to go inside because it's too wide to mount.
It's pretty cool.
And to make a little bag that you can hang your shoes and stuff out here, you don't even have to. You don't even have to bring
Oh,
your
it's
shoes.
comfy. Like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah, it's
scream
a
at you.
pack.
No, it's cool. The people will enjoy it. That's your description. Hey, it's comfy.
It's
It
Man,
is really
like,
cool.
I didn't think it would have, like, it wouldn't be very comfortable, like the padding and stuff, but yeah, squishy. It's not bad.
Well, you could add padding to it.
Yeah.
What type is yours?
It's a Kodiak.
If you drinking that,
About what that one
Oh, yeah,
was.
drinking if you
See, but you got,
right?
I mean, it's just canvas. It's heavy. But I like it. I don't have to worry about it.
Where have you taken this thing?
LBL, Holly Springs. Been to LBL a couple times with it.
So this right here just keeps stuff off the paint of the truck, right?
That's just the cover.
Oh,
That
once you
cover-
fold it up, you.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
I
you.
just didn't take it loose. I just
Okay,
left it hanging there.
I got you.
What's it been?
You usually.
Signs of something weird. And near the beginning, I saw a pretty discreet tree break, and we were trying to see if it was like a bug or wind. And it's higher up than me putting my arm up. Yeah, and it's like pretty definitive. And we both told each other, when we all hike up, we'll see if everyone else can see it.
Yeah.
And we all walked straight past it, and it's near where you showed us the body.
Yeah. Where that gate is, right there where it goes around, there's a tree right there. It's pretty thick. It's got branches kind of coming up, about probably 10 or 15 feet off the ground. But at the top, it's not like a pine tree, but they're twisted. There's several branches that all the way around. It's twisted, like something with fingers has to twist.
Yeah.
So tree break's pretty amazing, especially the high tree snaps. A lot of that can be wind, but then again,
Yeah,
if it's green, when you see it's green, that's crazy.
It's cool if I show you guys that later.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Because we were trying to think, couldn't be wind because there's a tree next to it that this tree snapped like halfway through the tree, and I tried snapping the one next to it. I couldn't move it. And it's facing towards the trail. It might be a little old because there's dead pine needles on the top, and it looks maybe a little twisted and then torn. It doesn't look like
There was no trees that fell on it or anything like that.
It doesn't look like a machine hit it. We saw a ton of those, but we
Yes,
feel like
around
that
here,
would
there
be.
is a lot of tree breaks like that. But you know, it's hard. A lot of people talk about tree breaks and a tree structure. My thing is, if a creature's so intent on being hidden, why is it going to give itself away? If I'm in a foreign country operating under pain, they're gonna put a bullet in my head. I'm not gonna build a fire.
What if he got spooked and ran off and hit it?
Yeah.
We saw a ton of other breaks, but if it wasn't guaranteed, I wasn't gonna waste my time.
Well, and
on
you know,
it.
there's been sightings of people doing of them doing tree twists. There's been sightings of them doing tree breaks. There's been sightings of them playing in fire but not making fire. There's been sightings, but there's never been a sighting of one building a tree structure. Some of the ones in Colorado, I think, are just old survival shelters people are making just to see if they can, and they leave.
Yeah.
Because some of the shelters are just not very good.
No.
Yeah, we didn't see any tree structures. We just saw the tree break. That was it.
And with the tree structures, I told Connor, with tree structures, how you know it's not wood spirits do it. It could be spirits do it. Because nobody's seeing, But when you're in a pine thicket and you got a bunch of trees that's like this,
You get one?
and the trident and these weird things, I can go find 20 of them right now, easy. Because I think, and when I'm doing my Bigfoot research and I put it flesh and blood, it's hard enough to prove it's flesh and blood than to say it's a spirit. Actually, when you say it's a spirit, it's a cop out. You quit. You're being lazy.
Yeah.
Because you're taking your evidence and you say, oh, it's a spirit, without trying to prove it.
Yeah. I was gonna say something, but we just wanted to see how easy it is to
Yeah, I would love to
just
look at
walk
it.
past something.
Oh, it's easy as shit.
If we all
How did
see
y'all
it,
fall?
All the time.
if we all see it, we are not gonna miss. Like coming back down, like it's like right there.
Here instead of moving over there. But I'm going to have Mark pray over us. We'll start the line here. Let's let the older folks come first. Mickey, it's good to see you. Mickey's had open heart surgery, and glad you're here. He disappeared for a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
I asked Mark the other day about him.
Yeah, I keep up with him pretty good.
So Mark, pray and lead us in prayer, and let's eat and fellowship and have fun. Go ahead, Mark.
Lord, thank you for letting us come today as a group to talk about what we have seen or interested in, Lord, and thank you for the food and the hands that prepared it. Lord, be with us as we leave tomorrow to go back to our different homes in different states and areas. And be with us tonight and keep us safe. In Lord Jesus' name, amen.
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 Form up. Let's eat. Thank you for being a part of Alabama Paranormal and Bigfoot. This year has been just like last year, a little better. So we'll do it again in a couple of months. Thank you for all of our out of town guests that's come. Thank you for coming. A lot of these people have been coming to Alabama a long time for Bigfoot. And one of the things that I want to talk to you guys, the Creepy Mountain alumni, is a way that since there's Bigfoot researchers that die that are associated with Alabama, if maybe we can have an oral project start up. We can put it online, and then everybody can draw maybe some information. Because there's a lot of Bigfoot history that's being lost. That's one reason I wanted Miss Chloe to talk tonight and her daughter. And so I'm excited about it. We're gonna give some books away. Who's drove the farthest, do you think? Here. Who's drove the farthest? We got Oklahoma folks, probably.
Probably Ryan.
Probably Brian. Yeah, Brian, pick a book. Yeah, Ryan, I'll be with you. There was a couple. Mark, what was the other trivia question?
We should all say what states we're from, though, just so we can, all come together.
Okay, let's start it off. Go
I'm
ahead.
from Ohio.
Alabama.
Alabama. Georgia.
Alabama. Alabama.
Alabama. Florida. Alabama.
Alabama. Alabama.
Alabama.
Alabama.
Texas.
Arkansas. Alabama.
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 Texas. Oklahoma.
Roll Tide.
Alabama. Oh, how about you guys?
Louisiana.
Ohio and Georgia.
Alabama.
Alabama for me.
New Jersey.
Nice. That's a good one.
Alabama.
Go ahead.
Alabama.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Alabama.
And Florida.
Florida.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Cedar Creek Bottom. She's doing some amazing stuff with her building her little empire, and this is her table. So we're gonna give away a mouse pad. Ideas how you want to give it away? Or you can give it right back there. Just give it away. Okay. Who wants a mouse pad?
I do.
Awesome pendants and good wire
Hey
wrapping.
Connor, give us the hint.
Everyone should take a look at their merchandise and help support their channel.
Yeah.
Jody's the winner.
I'm the winner.
Yeah.
Patreon. Whatever she's doing, please support her. Good friends of ours. And Have a coffee mug.
Incredible coffee mugs. So cool.
Who is one of the main characters in Boggy Creek?
Crabtree.
Crabtree.
Momo.
There you go.
Oh, right. It's a coffee cup.
Fire Rock wins.
What year was the Patterson Gimlin footage filmed?
1967.
Oh,
What day was it? What day was it? November? Oh, it was.
October 22nd.
Yeah, this gentleman here.
yes.
October 20th.
Nice.
This young man is a future aviator of the Navy. Wish him
All
luck.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, bro.
Who remembers one of the first videos I ever did? Not on Bigfoot, but on other things.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
No.
This is all you.
It was religious.
I know it, but
Well, hold on. What?
The Ghost of Coxco Road?
No, but
that's close.
the Legend of Jack Cole Road.
Jack Cole.
Here you go. Come pick a book.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
New
It's
Jersey.
a weird road in Blount County. It's a weird road. There's a lot of weird things that have happened over there the last couple of years.
Hey, can I go, please?
Not really. He ain't much on it.
This one right here.
And last but not least, one more book. Who's the biggest fan of Night Caller's Bigfoot Radio? Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Souls of Animals.
Yeah. That's the coolest book.
And it's Lori's birthday today.
It's Miss Lori's birthday. Let's sing happy
Lori's
birthday.
birthday yesterday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Lori. Happy birthday to you. Woo. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now, we're supposed to get on with the show. We're going to turn it over to these ladies. And I've known about this beautiful lady over here for a long time. When I first got invited to Creepy Mountain, I did 3 or 4 months research. Government research where I take everything and I dissect it completely. And her name kept popping up, and then Mark's was popping up with hers and all these associations. And then I had the honor of meeting, going to Creepy Mountain, and Lori did a lot of work there, a lot of trailblazing. So I want to turn it over to these guys. Go about 30-40 minutes, and then we'll break if we need to, or we'll keep going. So we'll figure it out, okay?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
My name is Laurie Dyer Hood, and has anybody here heard my story? If you've heard my story, raise your hand. Okay, so not too many people will be bored, hopefully. Okay, I'm from East Texas. I currently live in Nacogdoches, but when my journey began, I was living in Angelina County, Texas, on Lake Sam Rayburn. I'm a little nervous, so.
You're good.
But anyway, I had moved there, and I lived in a little house in a camp community, and most of the people that lived there were from Houston. So they would come for a weekend or something like that, and there was only about 6 houses where everybody lived there all the time. And this was in Angelina National Forest, and through the woods was Lake Sam Rayburn. So anyway, I lived there for about 5 years, and I had some strange things happen, but I didn't believe in Bigfoot. I didn't know about Bigfoot. I never watched The Legend of Boggy Creek or In Search of with Leonard Nimoy. If it was about Bigfoot, I changed the channel. I didn't care, you know. And so anyway, we were out on the lake fishing real late one night. I worked shift work at the paper mill, and I got off about 10 o'clock. We just bought a pontoon boat, and everybody been going fishing but me. So they met me up at the boat ramp, and I boarded, and we went out. And we're out there, and of course my husband at the time and my father-in-law were both hard of hearing, shooting too many guns, you know. And so they didn't hear the coyotes when they stood off. or start sounding off, and I said, "Do you hear those coyotes?" And they go, "Nope, we don't hear nothing." Well, then I hear this really long, deep howl, and then it was followed up by a roar, like a lion. And I've been camping and fishing all my life, and I'd never heard anything that I could even think of that would roar and howl at the same time or in the same. So anyway, I got real uneasy, and I don't know why I did. I just got very uneasy. I felt like whatever it was going to jump in the lake and swim out there and kill us all. And so I said, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And of course, you know, pontoon boats, they can go fast, but not this one. It was like putt, 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 all the way back to the boat ramp. Got to the boat ramp. I realized that they had gotten there in the afternoon, so guess what? They're parked way up there. Guess who has to go get it? Me. I'm passing all these dark woods, and there is a light, but I just said, oh God, it's already made it here, you know, whatever it is. I never knew what it was, but it just scared me. Then when I got home, I realized that where I heard it at and where I live was probably half a mile. So that wasn't very reassuring. Well, that was in like 1998. And then in 2000, it was quite by accident actually. But I've been having a lot of things, like I was hearing wood knocks, I was hearing strange vocalizations, I was having something walking around my house out in the dark. Even my husband said, "Who's that walking out there?" You know, and it was just pitch dark there, and we had all kinds of obstacles out in the yard, fencing, and we had a little pen for these stray puppies. We all took turns giving them away when we'd find them. And anyway, anybody walking through there without night vision would have killed themselves. But this individual was walking through there, walking around the house, not a thing. So anyway, I used a CB, big CB'er, and the computer came out. Step over here. Oh, it's gonna follow me. The computer came out about that time in 2000, and all the CB'ers went to the computer, you know, so no more shoot and skip. We could talk to anybody we wanted to. Well, it was boring to me, because the challenge of shooting skip was all what it was about to me. And so anyway, I started going around and looking at these different rooms in Powtalk, which is still up now. It's a talk, text, chat, video program. So anyway,
What's chasing you?
the smoke. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, I come across this room, and I was looking for Southern people, because, you know, Southern people are good people. You know, they're just real friendly, and so I saw this room. It was Gulf Coast Bigfoot Research Organization. And I said, Gulf Coast, that's south. So I go in there, and they're talking about Bigfoot. And of course, I didn't have a mic or anything. All I could do was text. But I am just laughing because these people believed in Bigfoot. And I just thought that was the most absurd thing ever. So anyway, I kept going in there because the people were really nice. And so I kept going in there, and then one day I got the courage up enough to type in, well, I heard this sound when I was on the lake. And there was this guy there, he's passed away now, Dallas Gilbert. And he said, well, I'm gonna play something for you. And when he played it, it was exactly what I heard, exactly. And I just got, oh, I can't even explain. I had a hot and cold sensation. Like, oh my God, that can't be, you know? But I still had to prove it to myself. So I'm going out in the woods every day, and I'm looking for sign and tracks and all this good stuff. And every day I'm going out there. Every day I'm hitting it. And at the same time, I'm recording. And I started recording. I had a Radio Shack recorder and a stock mic, and that's all I had. But all the sounds I was hearing was from my bedroom window, so I would just put the tape recorder on the floor and stick the mic in the window and then close down the window so that the mic was outside. And every 30 minutes or 45, if I was lucky I had a 45-minute cassette tape, I would wake up and flip it. And I did this all night long. And then on the way to college, I was going to college at the time. I wasn't a college student. I was an older college student. I'll put it that way. But I'd listen to it and mark down what I heard and all this. And I would do this night after night after night. I swear I probably aged 15 years because I was just so obsessed in getting anything I could find on this possible being. And everyone was saying what I was finding was probably Bigfoot. So I'm wondering if I should go ahead and play some of the sounds, the early sounds. I didn't have my first sighting until 2002. I think I've said on other radio shows it was 2001, but once I got to looking at these recordings, I realized it was actually Labor Day 2002. But some of these are the earlier ones. Which one's that? Okay. Before you play it, I want to explain this one. It was Christmas of 2002, and we had something that was just howling around the neighborhood. And we were up there putting up Christmas lights, and I said, what is that? And then we went down to the creek that was near the house and recorded it from there also. It was just moving, just going in a circle, and it was howling for like 3 or 4 days. And this is what it was doing. Oh no. Shall I imitate it? It was kind of going.
Ooh, I love it. Can you do it again for us?
This is not. Absolutely not. Okay. Alright, we're gonna do it from the laptop. It's acting funky.
Oh no.
I touched it.
It almost has, I don't know if you can hear it, but it almost has a human sound.
Oh, yeah.
As I continued to record from my bedroom window, I started to get more activity in my backyard, and specifically my bedroom window. And of course, you know, everybody in the community, you have to realize that back then, 20 years ago, there was no finding Bigfoot. Yeah. And so people that were interested and were looking into and researching Bigfoot were maybe 500 in the whole United States, whereas now it's thousands, you know. But you just didn't go around telling people what you did because they think you were batshit, you know, crazy. So anyway, I started getting some really strange sounds from my recorder. And I think that, and I've had several people tell me, that I may have picked up on some language. And it's mainly just grunts and huffs and things like that. But it does have a kind of, it could be considered their language. And I would be on the computer and she'd sit behind me. And I was on the computer and she heard something bump against the house. Of course, I have got the recorder going. and she heard something bump up against the house, and she ran outside, and I'm yelling at her to get back in the house, and I didn't realize that I even had anything. But what she did was, what this recording is, and I'll explain it to you so you can listen. Something comes walking up to my window and it's just standing there breathing very heavily. Then it bumps into the house. She hears that. She's running out barking. He growls and she chases him off. A big of something. So, go ahead. This is him breathing. Here's where he bumps into the house. You were right up on that mic. I actually had to lower the audio. What's next? Or everything. Owls, coyotes, even the sasquatch all had like a singing cadence. You know, and I would tell people and they just wouldn't believe me. You know, they say, no, no, no. You know, they'd have to hear it for themselves. So there were several that did hear it for themselves and just thought it was the weirdest thing ever. But I got quite a few examples of that, of the, it's still a howl, but it's almost, it's a beautiful kind of cadence.
There's 1 and 2. So.
Okay, 1 and 2. There's no telling what kind of trouble she would get into. It's not being that big, you know, but I went out there with her and I'm on the phone and I hear what sounds like just a repetitive growling sound, but the lake was down real low that year and I thought it's a boat hung up on a sandbar or something. And but then the longer I talked, the more I listened, I said, that's growling. And it was coming directly across the street in a cane patch. And so he told me, go to my boat and get the spotlight. Boy, that smoke is eating my lunch, peoples. Let me stand over here somewhere. Okay. So anyway, I did. I shined it over there in that cane patch, and of course the growling stopped. And he says, well, pan the wood line, pan the wood line. So I'm going on over. And then right here, catty corner to my house was a trailer house that these people would come occasionally and stay in and stuff. But nobody was home at that time. And as I got over to the trailer house, the old spotlights used to have rings, you know, and I noticed in that outer ring I saw something move, so I shot it back, and that's when I saw him. And he was standing next to a pine tree behind some yopon, and the yopon would come to about, you know, right mid-belly or mid-chest or whatever. And he immediately turned his head, closed his eyes, and turned his head and ducked down. But I saw him. He was tall. He was built like an NBA basketball player, just real lean. His hair was real smooth and short. It seemed like it was short. It was red. He did not have the sagittal crest. I couldn't tell if he had ears. But I kind of feel like he might have been a young one. And, but anyway, I was just in, you know, I had thought I believed until I saw it. Then I realized I did not believe at all until so I saw it, and I didn't have any choice but to believe it, and my world was upside down. And the next morning, I had a researcher from Garland, Texas come down, and she and I went over there, and it was just the area. And I forgot to mention that before, I'm jumping way ahead of myself. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me go back just a little bit. I had been finding things in the woods. And when I would go down the same trail every day, I would either take a right or a left right at the lake. And I'd go around through the trails. They were four-wheeler trails. And one day I went down that trail and I saw a little animal skull. Just a little one, like a possum or something. And I picked it up and looked at it and set it back down. Well, the next day I thought I would pick it up because I like painting turtle shells, which I found a lot of those. Weird. When I found those, they were like something grabbed that turtle by the head and just pulled its whole body out. It still have skin where the feet were and stuff, and I don't know. It was weird. But I wanted to get that animal skull, and it was gone. But instead was a feather. A very large feather. It was, I believe, blue heron was the first one. Then the next day, there was another one. And the next day, there was another one, and it was eagle feathers. We're talking big feathers. Now, I don't know if any of you have ever found big feathers in the woods, but they're rare to find. They're hard to find. And I was getting one every single day, and I would just make a big deal and fan my face and stick it up in my ponytail and just make this big thing about it. And then when I got home, I'd stick them in I had like a little wreath thing on my porch wall, and I'd just stick them in there. I had all these feathers. Well, my neighbor came over and he said, "Where'd you get all them feathers?" And I said, "Well, I just find them out in the woods." And he said, you've got about 10 or 11 eagle feathers. You know that will send you away for the rest of your life. And I said, "Really? I had no idea." He goes, "I put those in the house if I were you, so I had to put them in the house." But all this time, I thought that somebody was leaving me something. Back then, you talk about gifting or receiving something. Nobody heard of that. Nobody did it. They thought it was absurd. And I was asking everybody, "You sure they don't? You sure they don't?" Well, of course, now people know they do. But back then, I was being gifted, and I had no idea. But another thing that was going on, too, was I felt like I was being watched. My house faced those woods, and every night, I would feel like somebody was watching me, and I thought it was my creepy POW neighbor, you know? And he'd ride around out in the woods. I'd see him out in the woods on his four-wheeler, and he was just creepy. And I thought that's who it was, over there across the street in the woods, just watching my house. And my husband was a truck driver. He was never home. So I had to start closing blinds and all this stuff every evening. Well, when I had that sighting and we went over there, there was a very worn place by that pine tree where this individual had been standing there. And he was the one who was watching me all this time. I think he was the one that was coming up to the back of the house. He was the one that was leaving me the gifts and all of this. And then once I hit him with that spotlight, I never got another feather. I never heard another thing, never got that feeling. He was gone. He was gone. That was the end of that. So where are we at now on the next one?
We are at Pardon Me, Sir.
Oh. Okay. Well, I was so obsessed with Bigfoot, and I will be honest with you, I was so obsessed with Bigfoot that my husband asked me one day, he goes, you know what, if I didn't know better, I would say Bigfoot was more important to me. And I said, well, and so we ended up splitting up, and I had to leave my precious area. That just killed me, because that was the most active area I've ever been in. It was like pristine. Nobody had ever messed with it. But I feel like that while I was there, I changed things. I feel like I changed things, because I was always going out there doing stuff, and I feel like I changed things. So when I moved over to Nacogdoches County, that place wasn't near as hot, but I still had stuff, but it wasn't near as good. But
I have Silicaga and Unknown Vocal.
Okay.
Featuring Mark Green.
Okay. Yes. I'm playing this one for Mark.
So as she learned, so she began as a baby researcher like a lot of us, you know, from her experiences. And so as she collected her data and evidence, she had to learn, as all of us do. You start out with training wheels and then start riding your bike without them. She had to learn the do's and don'ts of recording audio. And now we know when you're recording, you look to the person next to you and you go, shh, or you don't record next to your AC unit, or you,
I used to do that. There'd be a group out there and they'd all be kind of talking and stuff. And I'd always be like, shh, shut up. I'm recording. You know, I was so rude. Oh my God, I was horrible. Because, oh my God, they're vocalizing. Shut up, you know. Yeah. Well, Mark so graciously invited us to Creepy Mountain. And so anyway, we had a vocal going, and he's talking to somebody. I don't know who he's talking to. I don't remember. But I'm over there interacting with the Sasquatch, and he's over there talking.
So this is called Pardon Me, Sir.
Yes.
They're vocalizing.
That's Mark. Did you hear the squatch? Yeah. That was me.
Ranger, and I had the duties at that time of closing the park up at night, which was, we generally closed either 9 or 10, it's all according to the season, but with that you had to do the patrol of the whole park, 10,000 acre park. Didn't have to patrol all that, but all the public use areas is what we had to do. And one of these areas that I had to go into was a primitive camping area. Which was not open. This was dead of winter and it wasn't open. We didn't have any groups in there, but we still went in and checked all the sites. Made sure there wasn't somebody back there camping that wasn't supposed to be in there camping without being registered. So I drove in, it's a dirt road very similar to this one. Just a 1-lane dirt road with a steel gate. Drove up to the gate, motor running, pitch black, probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night by the time I got around all my rounds to check this one spot. And that smoke does follow you, doesn't it?
I'm telling you, it's awful.
Sorry if I get
No,
my
you're
back
good.
to you.
Nope, you're good.
Sorry. Anyway, pull up to the gate, lights on, unlocked the gate, got back in the truck, drove down probably about as far from here down to where we come off of the main road here to come up into the campground. Came back in, checked all the areas, mostly with headlights, because you could pull into each camp spot and you could look, make sure everything was in like it was supposed to be. There wasn't anybody in there. So as long as it took to drive up here, turn around and drive back, about that long, maybe 5 minutes, 7 minutes, driving a truck, making all kind of noise in the middle of the night, drove back down to the gate, got out, left my flashlight in the truck, which I normally would do, because you don't need it, you just use your tail lights. Because you can see better without getting a flashlight and blinding yourself with a flashlight. This was well before LED lights and cell phones and all those type things that we've got now. So I get out of the truck, walk back to the tail lights where I could see the gates, pull the gates in. As soon as I got right here, it's close to here, that tent right there. The blood-curdling woman's scream you could ever imagine. And it was at my back, because I had driven out this way and I walked around behind. So I was here trying to lock the gate when that happened. So at the same time, I had been at that location, that assignment, probably 9 months to a year. And my cohorts and my boss, my immediate supervisor, and my equal, who was another ranger there, were constantly trying to, I don't want to say harass, that's not the word. It was good fun and jest on their part, but they were constantly looking for something to get me on. And the last thing I wanted to do was, and I know wasn't anybody back there, this was dead of winter, there wasn't any leaves on the trees. So, I grabbed my flashlight when I got back to the cab, which was like a second from there to there to get to the cab, showing the flash. There wasn't anything there, but the screen was there and my hair was standing up. And so I didn't mention this to anybody. I mentioned it to my wife when I got back home. And it just in passing, I heard something really strange. Well, what'd you hear? And then she's one of those, she kind of wants to hear about it, but don't tell me about it during the night. Okay, when it's dark. So I had to tell her about it more the next day, what I heard. But from that point on, and I just kind of filed it away until several years ago. I started reading more, finding out more, and talking to some other people. And then it kind of started fitting in. And since then, I didn't tell you this other, I showed Pat tonight. I went back in that same area. There's another ranger that's there now. He's heard knocks in that same general area that I heard the scream. I've done some more walking during the daytime and researching different areas, and then I found this one tree. It's kind of odd looking tree, wasn't it, Pat? There, see?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Three hardwoods. They're about 1.5 inches, 2 inches diameter. Broke at the ground.
That's amazing.
I say broke, not broke off. Broke. You can see where they're broke on the outside, and 3 of them fed and woven together where the limbs are there, and the trees are still alive. So they bush out, but they're all interlocked with the limbs. Strange. Yeah. But anyway, that's my anticlimactic story.
But did this trigger anything else that you, in your memories of odd things or odd feelings at least, if not situations?
I mean, there's all kind of things you can think back that you got that inkling in the back of your neck. Right. I do. You just. Right. I don't think I'm going to go down there tonight. Right. I don't think I'm going to get out right now. I can drive by and look at whatever, and try not to act like you're afraid, but at the same time, at that time, I didn't know about. You always go with your gut feeling. Right. Whenever I go against my gut feeling is when something happens. Yeah, exactly. When I shouldn't have done that. Exactly. Listen to yourself next time. Don't do the things that you're not supposed to do.
What's your opinion with the David Pilates stuff, the missing 411, since being a retired federal agent? With all the people missing in the national parks?
Yeah.
What is it, David?
David Pilates. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you read any of his books?
I hadn't read his books, but I listened to him.
Yeah, what do you think about that as a park ranger? Does it happen a lot more than people realize?
It seems like it does more national.
Yeah.
On the state, we never had anything like that happen in all the different state parks that I worked at. Everything, I mean, we had people deceased and people die and things like that, but it wasn't under strange circumstances.
Or duress, yeah.
Right. It was just.
What about unexpected closures of part of the park?
That's a good question.
Yeah,
very good.
We never had that because I was there 15 years.
What was it in Alabama?
What?
Was it in Alabama?
Georgia State Park.
Georgia State, yeah.
Yeah.
We had an issue with Shenandoah State Park. We camped there for years, and then they had a flash flood. They had a day and a half to get people out, but then again, we had some odd occurrences of Bigfoot and odd things at that park. And a lot of people theorized in Alabama that it was caused of Bigfoot, and they said it was caused of flash flood. They did have some trailers that stayed, and the government ended up paying for that. But I think that's. Do you think? I mean, does that? I mean, that's a very good question. Unexplained parks closed, or
yeah.
UFO crashes or anything like that?
That doesn't mean that they. Yeah. I'm one of the worst critics out there right now.
To speak, I felt honored that they asked us and that they wanted to brag about the women of Bigfoot, because that's near and dear to my heart. And then Miss Rebecca, a huge thank you to her, because she did, I'm sure, the lion's share of getting everything organized and ready. And
Rebecca did not.
She did. Women of Bigfoot. Everybody. Okay, so I am Lauren Smith. I host Night Callers Bigfoot Radio. It is a YouTube and Facebook live video podcast. We have been around for over 10 years now. We started out on Blog Talk Radio. We used to call in and we would have a live show with a chat, and eventually I switched it to YouTube and Facebook Live. We have done over 300 episodes interviewing Bigfoot researchers. So that's over 300 people that are researching this. As we know now, there are thousands of you guys out there. A lot of people ask us, why don't you interview witnesses like Sasquatch Chronicles or something? And I tell them, because researchers are witnesses, every single one of them. Even if they're getting into it and haven't had a sighting, they had something that spurned the need to go figure out this mystery, right? So I am a Bigfoot legacy. I'm a legacy kid. So I grew up, a lot of kids grow up, summer break, they go to summer camp, they go to Disney World, they do, bowling night with their family.
I was a terrible mother.
She was a great mother. I grew up, all those stories she told, all the audio she collected, I was right there with her. So whereas normal kids grow up, basketball camp, cheerleading camp, I grew up out in the woods, collecting evidence, casting tracks, measuring marks on trees, taking pictures of formations and gathering poop to keep in our freezer to analyze. Normal kids open the freezer for a popsicle. We have scat in ours. I, at the tender age, of preteen years, I am putting together spreadsheets of lunar cycles that coincide with sighting reports, and this is what I'm doing. So I grew up the weird kid, which I'm okay with. Obviously, I've made a profession out of it now, but so I am a Bigfoot legacy kid because of her. So she's been doing this for over 20 years. And 22 years, and I've been right there along with her for the ride. So I have heard, I guarantee you, a million stories, encounter stories, experiences. My brain is like a data bank. You can say earlier, Bigfoot swimming, fishing, and all of a sudden I have 3 encounters in my head that I can tell you that I have heard. I'm like a repository for Bigfoot information. It's ridiculous. So I grew up doing this, and she started Night Callers Bigfoot Radio, and I started hosting with her, and then eventually I took it over. So she raised me doing this, and so something that is near and dear to my heart is, and the name of this presentation is Littlefooters, the Next Generation. So I'm a 2nd gen researcher. My kids are the 3rd generation, and they have been out in the woods with me researching as well. And so we're bringing our kids into the fold. Now, that's not just about me, that's about every single one of you. If you have kids, grandbabies, nieces and nephews, little cousins, you guys are mentoring the next generation of Bigfoot researchers. And that we have to be good stewards of that. We have to plant the seeds that are going to spawn good researchers out of this next crop, right? We have to teach them. That is our duty. I know a lot of us think that the woods are no place for kids, or these outings are no place for kids, and that's absolutely not true. That's withholding all that information from them, and then when we all die, what happens? Like, the next generation doesn't know squat and they have to start over. I would rather them learn from our mistakes. And even if this topic is proven, it doesn't stop with proven. Next, there's conservation, right? We have to teach them how to take care of that species, how to take care of the environment so that that species can keep going. So that's what I wanted to talk about with everybody, is the next generation of Bigfoot researchers and what we can do to help them be successful. So let me check my notes because I don't want to leave anything out. So we're going to be learning from them one day. We're going to be looking to them for information. So we got to start now. So get them outdoors. A lot of the older people in my life constantly complain about screen time. Well, they're on their video games all day. All right. You have the ability to get them outdoors. And how do you do that? You get them excited, right? You get them out. You teach them about wildlife. You give them books, you take them to nature centers, you introduce them to these park rangers that have shiny badges and guns on their hips. Those kids are sponges for this information. So you get them the wildlife books, you let them watch clean, like Nightcrawler's Bigfoot Radio, clean podcast about Bigfoot where they can learn about these encounters. Don't watch the one with Jonathon Odom. If there are children around. I love you, Jonathan, but however, that one I can't edit. But the rest of them, but educate them. Take them to nature centers. Take them out on hikes. You guys, we bear the burden of teaching that next generation, and you can make it fun for them. So I take my boys out hiking all the time. Every single time we step outdoors, it's an adventure. What wildlife can we see? What insects can we see? What snakes can we identify? What plants can we identify? And if you take them to meet the park rangers, take them to the nature centers, they can learn to identify the flora and fauna of their areas, right? Because Oklahoma is going to be way different than here in Alabama. When I first got here, my first question from Mark was, what kind of snakes do you got here? Because I need to know what I'm working with. I need to know, are they aggressive? You know, how many poisonous versus regular? So teach them about their area. And then while you're out, you can start teaching them the scientific method. Start teaching them about analyzing data, collecting evidence, but you can make it fun, and it doesn't have to be Bigfoot related at all. That comes into play later. You teach them about their area. They found 3 different leaves, and they're going to go home and look at what kind of leaves these are. They found these different tracks. My kids get so damn excited about tracks, you guys. They find a track and they light up. That's a raccoon, that's a deer, that's a snake. They get stoked, and then they track that animal, which comes into play later for Bigfoot, right? So you start them young, start teaching them how to gather that evidence and data, because they're going to need that, 1, to prove Bigfoot, or 2, to conserve the species, or any species. So get them out, get them into nature, and start teaching them. Get them out, and you start teaching them, you know, this is a bear track, this is a whatever track. That noise was a fox, that noise was an owl, this is a coyote, because they all make really weird noises that we hear a lot. You're teaching them that isn't Bigfoot. So the more you know about your area, the more you know what isn't Bigfoot. She's done the legwork. If you guys go to Squatchy Nights Audio, she's uploading videos of hogs, owls, foxes, deer. You're learning the sounds. She's put in the legwork for you, and other researchers that have been in the game for a long time. They put in the legwork already. All you got to do is go listen to their videos, and you know, okay, that's an owl. All right, I know when I'm out in the woods and I hear that, that's not Bigfoot. So that's something that I say a lot to my kids and other people. Not everything is Bigfoot. And so the more we teach our kids what isn't Bigfoot, the more likely they are to capture the data that is. that one sound that is and be able to turn that around. We're going to teach them to think critically about things. Again, not everything's Bigfoot. Sometimes things get emotional and intense out in the field. You think you've got the thing, and then you get home and you're like, damn it, that was a coyote. Like, it sounded so crazy out in the field. And that's okay.
So different out in the woods.
And that's okay. It's okay to get excited, but you've got to teach them to think critically. And I encourage skepticism. I don't want my kids to believe in Bigfoot just because I do. So my son Adam is about to be 10 years old. And when people are like, oh, your mama researches Bigfoot? Oh my God, that's so cool. Do you believe in Bigfoot? And he's like, no. He's like, I don't. He's like, I don't think Bigfoot's real, and until you prove it to me otherwise, he's like, I don't think it's real. And every time I show him a picture, you know, some new picture comes across on the internet, and I'll be like, oh, Adam, look at that. And he's like, yeah, Mom, that's an owl. And I'm just like, it's a what now? And he's like, look at the eyes. And he's like, that shadow, that's a beak. And sure enough, I superimposed, it was a certain image. He was like 7 at the time. I superimposed that image over an owl. It was an owl face. It was just caught on a game cam, and someone had blown it up and pixelated and circled, and it was an owl. And my 7-year-old son caught that because he thinks critically and skeptically. So teach them skepticism. Teach them not to, you know, make everything all fantasy and amazing and fun.
We got in the hotel, and it wasn't a good. It was a South American hotel. Probably would have been a lot better. And it's been an adventure. So I want to thank my wife for being a part of this, the silent partner behind me, and getting me. So let's give her a hand, please. She puts up with my shit. So,
KK.
hey, she's a beautiful woman for that. Yes, sir.
KK.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh yes. Does anybody have any encounter stories that they want to tell?
Anything that's happened to you that you have questions about, that you think might have been something, anything like that, Jonathan, Mark Green, and Janelle Lee are all available for you. You can stand up and share here, or if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can go share one-on-one with one of them. They're all great listeners. They're not going to judge you. You are welcome and safe to share here.
And also, go back through the food line. Let's eat more food. And everything.
Absolutely.
And thank you everybody for being a part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
All right. There we go.
The sun is rising. Me, Lucas, and Jacob just spent the night on the mountain. We did some meditation and some manifesting last night and heard some wild calls, and there's been things prancing behind us. Sounds like it was a little smaller though, but we definitely feel like they had eyes on us up here. It's very peaceful. We saw a bunch of weird things in the sky. I don't know if they're satellite or UFO or deities. But that's what you gotta do, you gotta push the limits. Lucas is figuring out what the heck was prancing underneath and behind us.
Let's see if it is or something, I'm not sure. Something was back here.
There's like a bracelet gone. And the banana is there. Like, I know for sure I did not put the banana down.
I know I didn't either.
And like, yeah, I remember on our way walking up there with him. As we got there, I said, like, I don't have a banana, because I don't have a banana.
We heard the hooting sound by this second thing.
Yeah, it was here.
I heard maybe 4 in the morning, like an actual owl, like not even like a Bigfoot mimicking it. I was telling you like an owl. But then there were times where like I think that's an owl. So we don't.
Oh, that's spider web. Yeah, like that.
I think it's like a spider web. can already see it.
Yeah.
You can see that clearing.
I'm sure it could sense us from over there too.
Yeah. But there's like a small green like clearing.
Oh, the quartz rock.
Yeah, that's there.
That's when she kept finding quartz. Put on top of another rock.
That's actually interesting.
Kind of weird.
Why is it gone?
I'm pretty sure it was right here. Like it wasn't here.
Something passed through.
Oh.
One single strand. It's not good.
Maybe something like this.
Yeah.
Never know.
Wow.
So that hooting sound was from here, right?
Yeah.
Whew. It's definitely an eventful night, though.
It was.
Lucky it wasn't too threatening. Didn't scare us.
It felt so peaceful.
Something's back there. Back here?
Yeah.
Would you guys have preferred to sleep out here or in the first one?
I think we played our cards right.
Yeah, I think we made a good choice.
Would have been weird if we came out here. We're here on the mountain and we just busted out the ghost box just to see if we can communicate with any spirits or if we get any answers of who was with us last night. Is there any spirits out here right now? Did you say Abe and Eden? Is there any Sasquatch in the area? If there's any creatures out here, make a noise, please. Is there any dead bodies hidden in these hills? Can you give us any information on the hunter that was killed here? Why did the Bigfoot kill the hunter? Was anything watching us last night? Were those hoots coming from an owl or a wild man? Is there magic in these hills? Can you say one of our names? Or somebody's name from the camp? Are we safe? If the spirit has a name, please be clear.
Imagine if they tried to walk up to where we were and they see our like sleeping bags empty.
Yeah.
What the fuck? They're gone.
Yeah. That would be pretty funny.
That was really
We should do that ghost box at where the hunter was killed.
Yeah, we could try that. Good idea.
That's on the way back to camp.
Let's do it.
On the right side, probably.
And you for sure started bringing it up, like it's not in your car?
It was in my pocket.
We'll find it.
Maybe Bigfoot took it.
Yeah.
Like, shit. Grab it and go for it.
So let the people know some of the activity at your house that's been popping off recently.
Over the past month and a half, almost every night there are either knocks, howls, screams. I have them throwing rocks at my house pretty regularly.
Wow.
And like if you like go outside during those times, they'll throw rocks at you. That's happened like 2 or 3 times now.
And you found 2 huge strands of hair pretty high up as well?
It was like a clump of hairs like caught on the end of this branch.
Oh wow.
And we like took them all apart, and they were all like separate strands, all 10 to 12 inches long, thick black hair. They burned, like they weren't plastic.
Whoa.
It's pretty crazy.
And you said your girlfriend recently had rocks thrown at her as well?
Yeah. She went out to her car to get something, and it was after we had already heard some weird noises from the woods. And she had rocks thrown at her. It wasn't anything like, it wasn't like big rocks or anything, it wasn't like hard thrown at her, but it was like making her aware of it being there.
Yeah, that's interesting. Playful with the girls, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, look. They're marking the trees.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see that yesterday, but it was probably there.
Yeah, I didn't see that either. Definitely an awesome weekend though, you know?
Yeah.
Never predicted this, you know?
No.
That's the cool thing about campouts. You meet the people you're supposed to.
Exactly.
All divine timing.
Definitely.
That's a weird sound.
Yeah.
Can't tell if it's a dog or our hairy friend.
You can see so much more now that it's bright. Like last night, you can see like.
There's another one.
That's a weird noise.
Yeah. We'll have to see if they're hearing that at camp or if that's behind us where we were just at.
It's like this is a different forest in the morning.
I know.
Lively.
maybe.
Sounds big though.
Yeah, like,
Very deep.
Yeah, it is. That's weird.
it's echoing.
Yeah,
Oh, looks like it's a north high pitch.
that's what I was thinking. Sounds like it's mocking us.
Yeah.
Or saying bye.
It's probably mimicking a woodpecker.
Right. Or even a woodpecker mimicking the wild thing.
I feel like we're close to where the body was found.
Yeah, we are.
That's it again.
Okay, that's the X, so I think we're getting close.
Right next to it.
What's that? See it?
X.
Yeah, the X in trees.
That's pretty cool.
That's like a pretty defined X.
Yeah, X marks the spot.
Marks the spot.
Some people say the X stands for Zanu tribe too.
Ooh. What's the Zanu tribe?
Xanue. I guess it's just a type of the wildman clan.
Yeah.
They say they look for like A's, T's, X's. Pretty much just any kind of cross in the forest.
Pretty cool.
Like the A. Anarchy. That's what kind of A that one looks like.
It might have been up here because one of the guys put a plank on it. When we walked down, he took it.
I remember it's by that tree break too.
Yeah, the tree break is when you go start the downhill, that's where the tree break is going to be. Is it between those three trees?
This kind of looks familiar.
We're close. It might be.
Yeah, I think it's right around this bend.
Oh, like over there?
No, I think right when we came around here. So it's, yeah, this opening. That looks pretty familiar. Yeah, we climbed through here.
It was not this tiny at least. Also, I like how the tree bends like that.
Yeah.
Is it stuck in the ground?
Yeah, it looks like there's a big log on top of it. That's pretty cool.
Higher than I am?
I'd say
Yeah,
I'm 6 foot, so that makes it 10
at least 10 feet. So right at the tree break, we found Jacob's GoPro. What a miracle.
found it.
That's what I'm talking about. And Jody and Lucas found that break earlier. Very cool. We know what time it is now. Just got a roll of toilet paper and I'm heading back into the forest. This is when something will happen. Vulnerable. Wow.
Sound like was that raptor that does it in
Yeah. Yep.
There's that one. You hear the dog?
Yeah.
This one here will break over. They get that rosin, that sugar in that rosin.
Yeah.
It rattles here.
Yeah. From a distance, you probably can't hear the rattle, so all you hear is that call. That is cool.
Here's another variety.
That's so cool. Now we're gonna have a stampede coming through.
You pissed off everybody, it's all your fault.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get my foot.
A bad burn. But it's pushing its way out, so.
It is. It is. You don't want to mess with that skin. You want to leave it as such. I gotta go through these. Plain soap and water.
Wow.
Just plain soap and water is the best thing. And then I'll give you all these 4x4s, and of course you'll have your ace wrap.
Don't mess with that.
No, Freya. It's one of y'all.
Jordan.
Okay. And where are you from?
Colorado originally, then he moved to Pensacola.
Left Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh,
Mountains.
that's kind of like a dream place for me.
Me too.
Not to mention I can
Smoke for free.
free.
not even like not
Go
free,
to
but
jail.
yeah. I wanted to do the Denver tour, you know, the best dispensaries.
Oh my gosh, they got restaurants that cook with it.
Yeah.
Look good?
Much better.
Still gross.
It looks more like a burn where the pustules were literally full of pus. Now it's clear, serous fluid. You know, it's much, much, much better.
And if it's high up on my ankle, also, if you can put, you know, if you want to do one of those things, if it's high up like that, but you know, if it's tucked and you believe in it, I think it's fine too.
Well, whatever you want. I just want it secure when you put on a sock. But if it will feel better higher up.
Well, I just mean with that clip, you can just put it high up, like just because last time it was kind of in a sensitive area.
Okay. Oh well, yeah.
I think this is Mark Green.
He's killing me. Wait, one day you'll be old. Well, no,
I hope I
of yourself.
I hope I grow old. I need to start taking care of myself.
Too.
So what happened to you guys last night?
Well, Boo jumped up in the middle of the night, you know, out of the truck, you know, and put his head out the window, you know, real skittish. From a dead sleep to, you know, how a dog would jerk, you know, and jump over to the window like something's going down. That's what he did. I mean, he was laying down.
Morning, Misty.
He was just laying
I
straight
woke up,
down.
but I didn't know there was something going on.
Oh, that was a pileated woodpecker. They're endangered. He was the guy. That's the guy that's as big as a crow.
Yeah.
He's a big old boy. They only nest in longleaf pines. That's another thing that makes, you see all these? These are longleaves. That makes this place unique.
Yep.
Woodpeckers will only
That
roost.
might have been what, because we heard something when we were way back in the thing.
Them blackout
And he
windows
goes,
work
it
good?
was Lucas, he says, was that a woodpecker? And I'm like, not like a woodpecker I know, I bet it was.
That was him hollering just a
We
second
heard that
ago.
this morning too.
Yeah.
A ton of it. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Those are, they're getting endangered.
Dang.
But,
What do you reckon?
There's only these kinds
do what now?
What's killing them?
Habitat destruction. Because nobody does longleaf pine anymore.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, I love
That's
it.
these big. That's these big pines.
Yeah,
right?
that's big with the really long needles on them. Yeah, they're not good for pulpwood or lumber because they've got so much varnish in them.
Yeah.
And
So that's why we got so many big pines on our property.
yeah. woodpeckers in general will only nest in pine trees, dead pine trees. So unless the pine tree is a threat to your house, leave your dead pines. Woodpeckers come right nest in it. That's what I do. Unfortunately, there's some I've got to clear out because I've got so many dead gum tractors now. I've got to build a pole barn to put them under. But there will still be pines around for them to nest in. So. And I'm gonna try an experiment. I'm gonna take, when I cut it down, the top section that I know they're nesting in, I'm gonna get my son, he's used to be a tree surgeon.
Oh, there you go.
I'm gonna get him to climb up and see if we can't strap it to the top of another tree somewhere, in the general vicinity.
That'd be cool. Wow.
Just to see if it works.
It's a thought. It'll either work or it won't, and I can say I tried.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, see the material this man's got. Oh my God.
Thank you for that. Yeah, dude, you're gonna have to come up and camp with us.
For sure.
Again, you got to camp. We can come and
Just
set up
hang
in my
out,
yard.
Hang out on the back deck.
Let me know.
Okay.
All the train stuff he's got, original train stuff. Yeah, it comes off his tracks.
I'll get with them.
That's cool.
I'm a big-time model railroader. I'm a full-scale railroader.
Wow.
Light tractors.
Hell, he got some hellacious tractors.
Yeah, just a little bit. I've got 6 that run.
Yeah.
2 that I actually work with.
That 55, a 55 and a 62, right?
The 240 is a 58. That was my dad's.
Okay.
The big farm all is a 62.
Yeah.
And it's a 90 horse.
They look brand new.
They look like it came off the
brand new. They look like it comes right off the.
And they're brand new. They don't just look brand new when I did them. This is not a refurb. This is a restoration. I took them apart and I went through all the bearings and seals and everything to make sure to, find anything that was faulty, and I went back with all new stuff.
Wow.
Now, on the big one, I didn't have the tooling for that. I'll never do another big one again. It took me 2 years, and I've got more money in that tractor than I won't say that. I've got $15,000 in that tractor.
Wow.
That's not counting the original.
But if you've seen these days those type tractors, you're looking $30,000-$40,000.
David, what's one of your conclusive Sasquatch experiments?
Oh, a conclusive Sasquatch experiment.
Or experience, encounter, any E word that fits in.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
I can see
what
it.
she
That's
looked
cool.
like. That's what she looked like when I started. And that's what she looks like now.
That's amazing.
Brand
sir.
new.
Totally restored, yeah.
Okay, conclusive.
Or just most extreme, just anything.
Okay, the most extreme was my first. I played you the recording of the T-Rex. My first experience, me and our Australian Shepherd had gone. I was getting ready to go to night shift so I stayed up late. It was like 2 in the morning. This was November, and it was warm enough we were still running our air conditioners, which is kind of odd for November in Alabama.
Yeah.
Or at least central Alabama. But my first is when we went outside, and that T-Rex, he yelled up on the mountain, which is probably 3/4 of a mile away.
Yep.
And he was so loud and had so much bass, he rattled my insides.
Whoa.
It scared my dog. And we both were killing ourselves trying to get back in the house. And that's the same recording I played you. Thanksgiving that same year, my friend Richard, who is this experience made him a Bigfoot enthusiast.
Yeah.
And he Thanksgiving we had the weekend, Saturday, we had our friends over for Thanksgiving, and boy, there were a pile of us, man. We had food, we were having a good time. And it was nice enough. We were outside sitting on the porch and just, long sleeve shirts. It wasn't cold. Really nice evening. And Richard's wife thinks we were just absolutely goony for a bit. She thought, oh, y'all are the stupidest people in the world.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're sitting out on the porch, and we happened to be talking about it. And I said, where from? And I said, he usually hollers right back up there. And we're sitting around talking, and no sooner than it came out of my mouth, you could hear it. And Richard's wife said, was that him? I said, yes. She said, oh my God. And back in that, and Richard said, you got me now, buddy. He said, I got to see what to do in that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Up in that direction he's talking about is where that big stone clack was when I was saying over his house the other night.
We're always hearing noises and stuff. I'm half deaf, so I've lived there for 30 years, so you know what may seem normal, not out of the ordinary to somebody like Flat Rock, he picks up on. Did you hear that? I'm like, well, yeah. What about it? You know, but you know how if you're familiar with the area, you just kind of pass stuff off.
It's all subtle. You know?
Exactly. It's everyday noise to me.
Yep.
But it's something different to Flat. Just like when I go to Flat Rocks, I'm probably gonna pick up some stuff that he doesn't pay attention.
Exactly. Well, thanks, brother.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thank you for everything this weekend.
Hey,
too.
man, I thoroughly enjoyed meeting you.
And shout out to your nephew too. He was on the same wavelength as
Nelson.
me, man.
Oh, yes,
Very
man.
good dude.
Yes, he is. That man he's awesome. I love him.
But the Alabama Bigfoot and Paranormal group is definitely very welcoming and enlightening, and very just a good time to hang out with for the weekend.
I'm so glad. And anytime you get ready to come hang out, give me a call.
For sure,
I got room to put you up.
They give you the most.
We'll treat you like family.
Like
that man right there, he is family now. So.
Love it. Thanks, guys. To the next time.
Yes, sir.
My family, you know, when I was young, we were in Utah, Ogden, Utah, up in Ogden Canyon. My family had an extended family member. We called him Uncle Charlie. You know, he was Native American and all. And he taught us that there were forest spirits. There were not to be exploited, not to, you know, forest protectors. And so we would go up there camping all the time. My daddy was a real spiritual man, loved animals, my mother too. And we went camping up there, and I had a tendency to wander off, and you know, it was nothing for me to walk out in the woods. And back then, you know, you didn't really worry, but I got lost, and all I can remember from that small age was something leading me out of the woods. And when I explained to my dad, you know, he said it was a forest protector, or what I told him, it was a forest protector. The forest protector helped me out of the woods, and that's when I got my first encounter, being 3 years old, in a huge Ogden Canyon. And then did I tell you about my buddy at home?
No, I don't think so.
That's where you need to go. So years later, Dave and I get married, and we move a trailer in the back. There's a huge rock. We live literally butt up against Creepy Mountain. And huge rock, right like this big. And I said, that would be an excellent meditation prayer rock. I don't know if you believe in meditating. I do.
Oh, yeah.
Just about daily. So he got his tractor and brought the rock down. Now from like a little bit further than that tree right there is a pine tree that kind of curves. And he had the rock sitting right here. And matter of fact, that's almost the exact how I would sit, and the tree was right there. And I would do my meditation, and of course I talk to myself out loud because I'm an audio person. I like to hear and communicate. And I sensed that I was being watched, but I wouldn't react and just pray. But I kept smelling.
Joe Parker's gonna be bringing that moose of a trailer through here, so. You telling your story?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
I don't wanna be on
Are
your
you
videos.
out?
I'm gonna go, honey.
Okay.
It can stop.
I don't want to interrupt you.
No, we're tuck and roll, you know. Good to see you. Thank you so much. I'll see you in a couple weeks.
All right.
Bye, hon. You take care.
Later, Jody. Thank you so much.
Hey, you're welcome. Let me know if you need anything, okay?
Oh yeah, thank you. Definitely keep in touch with those two.
Oh yeah.
So where were we?
You're speaking
Prayer
out
rock.
loud. Yep.
Tree right there. So this went on for a while, sensing something. But then every time I would sense something was there, I would hear the walking. You know, not what people think, that big thud, 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 trash, 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 knocking trees over. Matter of fact, it was kind of a slide in, just very quiet, simple steps, definitely far apart, you know, so obviously it was something large. But the smell I would get is a very earthy smell, like pine and dirt. If you just dug your hands in the dirt, that's what it smelled like, with a floral undertone, like jasmine.
Wow.
That's what I tell people, jasmine. But my yard is full of jasmine. And I was thinking,
I think now that my foot's sideways,
yeah,
safe.
sit. And so I thought, well, it's my friend, if it's the forest protector, you know, this is great, this is great. So I kept this up. And I noticed when I come out, that big tree had a rub place. And every morning when I come and do, he would go there and rub on that tree while he listened to me talk and pray and meditate. Then one day, I started sneaking glances, you know, that peripheral glances.
Yeah.
But there was a special day that we had eye contact.
Wow.
And I turned, and it was just instant. It was a connection. He wasn't the rusty brown or dark. He was very gray. Wrinkled. And his eyes were definitely old, silver rings around the irises, like, you know, like cataracts.
Yeah,
almost.
he's old.
And he wouldn't growl, he didn't huff, he purred.
Wow.
Literally a purr. And I even drew a picture for Jonathan, you know, and sent it kind of what I could explain he looked like. Very calm. Definitely primal looking, but he wasn't malevolent.
Yeah, malevolent. However we could say it.
I can't say it. And this relationship, you know, kept on for about a year. Then we cleared the woods behind and moved my rock to move my son's trailer in. And I hadn't seen him since. However, we recently bought a new chicken pen. Of course, I have lots of animals. We cleared away, you know, the old chicken pen, but the chickens were all still roosting there, not going to the new pen. So I would go in the night. I'm not afraid of the dark. I've been raised in the woods all my life. I have no reason to fear. The Indians have taught me that. My dad has taught me that. And so I would go get the chickens. We're up against Creepy Mountain. Sounded like a boulder coming down. You can hear trees. It was rolling, huffing, and then it just stopped at the tree line. I got chickens in my arms. I'm looking into the blackness of the wood going, well, if I'm being rushed, if this is a bluff, or if he's serious, there's not much I can do. He'll get a good meal. There's me and 2 chickens.
Yeah.
But it just stopped. And I stood there and I thought,
She's
well,
good, I got her.
We're at a standoff. I wasn't scared. I didn't smell my jasmine like if it was my fella. I'm not sure what it was, but I didn't smell anything foul, just that earthy smell. And then all of a sudden, I could hear it, you know, just kind of rustle and walk back up the mountain.
Wow.
I don't know if it was my same guy, but it was like he sensed that, well, this person's okay.
Yep.
You know, came down, checked it out, went back up. Now I'm waiting for the next turn. We're trying to replant, put new trees in, and hoping my old guy's okay.
I hope so too. Do you think it's the original protector from when you were a child? The same one that's
now that's
purring?
going on a different plane then. Would he have followed me all my life? Is it a spiritual versus mammalian type, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
And it very well could be. The spiritual side of me thinks that would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's that's like goosebumps, you know. That's like the best story
goosebumps.
ever. Yeah.
I'm glad you
It
brought
watched
that up.
you
That's
the whole
like,
childhood.
wow.
Yeah.
You know, followed me my whole life, and there he was.
And that shows their level. You know, if that's the case, then that shows they are ultra beings. You know, they watch after you.
And that, you know, and I've often thought of that, but that's how the Indians see them too.
Yep, 1,000,000%.
They don't see them as just an animal. They are a spiritual being.
Yep. And I think that humans can be spiritual beings to each other in the right light. So I think you're a part of just something very special.
I think so too.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Welcome.
That is so cool.
Yo, I guess about an hour after that, you can hear my mom say it.
I think I'm going back to truck and start.
Hell, she said she's being held down. She looks asleep.
Oh, she had that sleep
but when she woke up, she seen she was knowing everything that was going on around her. She said something was holding her down. Yeah, I mean it's all on video, and it was crazy as hell. But that fresh smell, that I was smelling, but right to that picture film, that's when she started talking about that jasmine. I mean, I don't know what the smell of jasmine is. All I know is this smell I smelled was as fresh as fresh. I mean, just
it's hard to believe that something like that could be bad.
Yeah, but then
right?
Very true.
But then Mom saying she's being held down an hour later. It kind of caught me surprised.
I wonder if something was trying to protect her though.
Could be, I mean, because that house was always haunted. That's the one that I got that picture of them shadow people in the house. But it was always, we growed up in that old
Maybe
house.
something thought it was okay to harass your mom since your dad was gone, but your dad probably
well,
stepped in to fix it.
Right, because even when my dad was in his death zone at the house, he was running, chasing people all through the house. He was seeing people in the tub. He was chasing a kid around the house.
Was it an old house?
Yeah, the house used to belong to a guy who was killed in the Sandy Creek murders. That's a big murder that happened over there. It was a drug murder.
Okay.
They had killed 3 people, decapitated them and took them to Perry, Florida, and threw them down in a sinkhole.
Oh, good Lord.
But that used to be one of my dad's best friends that got killed. He was with my dad when my mom and him met. And that's about the only thing I know that was whiting out. Anything that happened before that, I wouldn't know. But I keep that shadow person, them shadow kids, and one adult picture on my phone.
I got shadow animals.
Hey, BB, just wanted to get a cool clip of you. You're the dog in honor. How'd you have a good camp out? Have fun? You meet some friends? How was it? Yeah. Can't wait to get home, huh? No place like home. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
FJB.
That's awesome. Did you hear me last night when I said it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I was like, only 3 words. Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah, that's right.
That was pretty funny.
But yeah, this license plate has been on my truck that long.
You foreseen it coming?
No, but and everybody that sees it, they're like, oh my God, that's hilarious.
Custom.
And I said, hey, that happened completely by accident.
I love it. I love it. Hey, this is Jacob's. Do you want to hold on to it? He uses it to tree knock. I don't think it's a must, if
yeah.
But he could find another one.
Oh,
but if you end up seeing him,
Yeah, I will.
Cool.
Okay, well, I'm gonna finish hooking this bad girl up. And then here all night.
Well, who's them guys camping down below the hill on the?
Oh, father and son down there. I'm not sure.
You could see everything through the woods, on thermals, or them walking around, the dog losing his mind, back and forth.
We were looking.
I just wondered if you could see through there and see far as like the awning light or something.
Yeah, we couldn't see anything coming this way, but yeah, I'm sure you guys had.
Him and Jonathan know each other from their kids going to the same school or something. They said they used to sit in line waiting to pick up their kids from school, and they'd sit and talk and carry on. So
and his dad, his buddy's dad, actually watched Jonathan on YouTube, and he was a huge fan of him on YouTube. And then he described him, and then he's like, "I think that's my buddy." Yeah. And he
yeah, that's right. That's right.
His dad actually has seen a bunch of my interviews, and and I ended up sleeping in using his sleeping bag.
Talking about Paul?
I think that's his name.
Yeah,
you know, I'm an energy guy. You know,
okay, I got you.
I don't expect anybody to remember my name.
When you just get in your energy and put all the cold air out.
You know, hey, that's I had.
Got you again there.
I tried. You know, I didn't have enough time to build my barrier.
The barrier is getting broke down. That cold air is starting to get to him, and then the weed got his foot. And then,
hey, it didn't slow me down.
I'll be able to cut my hair. 3 times you got to cut your hair.
That's classic. We'll see what the people got to say to
3
that.
times you got to cut your hair because your theory don't work, and you just rethink your game.
Reset.
You gotta reset your game.
I like it.
You can't be doing that.
I need to learn to do that.
What, jump around like
with
that
a camera
dog?
in my hand all the time.
Yes.
Oh Lord, he put it on me.
Oh, that's just the way he is.
Main
He's
star.
got classic footage. Can you put? I wish we had a tablet to pull it up.
Yeah. What's up, fam? We're with the Green Swamp brother, Pat. Can you tell us about some of your experiences in that strange area?
Well, back in 2006 and 7, we were camping out that way, and we kept running across footprints out there. Some of them 13, 15, 17, a couple of 18s. And we kept thinking somebody's out here playing a joke, you know, because Bigfoot ain't real. So we started camping in that area and finding more tracks. And one night I was going down this little fire break trail with just a little bitty flashlight. We went down. I had a tent set up down there with a camcorder in it, just recording, because I didn't even have any auto or anything. So about 11:30, went down there to get the camcorder. And when I turned around, here's this big, tall, 7.5 foot tall, lanky basketball player shaped thing standing there 20-30 feet behind me on the trail. So we just turned around and there he was. I guess he was following us down the trail.
Yeah.
So I turned the flashlight on him real quick, and he just jumped sideways off the trail into the palmettos. And I put the light on him, and he was like, went up on tip. He was looking at us over the top.
Yeah.
And doing this number, you know, and then bam, he was gone.
Oh,
the whole
man.
thing lasted about 3-4 seconds.
Wow.
And I'm thinking, well, these things are real. So I was hooked from there.
Yeah. And the Green Swamp is filled with a lot of strange stuff.
Oh, they've had newspaper articles going back 150 years through, you know, that area.
Serial killers, plane crashes, people going missing, caves. Yeah. Now it's the Skinwalker Swamp, they say.
Yeah, well, that's what I hear.
It's
I haven't
next
seen
level.
one of those. But.
Well, I can't wait till me and you get in the field together.
Yeah,
you know, we have
good.
Tim T and Dave Sidoti linking us together. So looking forward to it, man.
Looking forward to it.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, bro. Very cool, famous location, the Wetumpka Impact Crater, where 85 million years ago, a 1,000-foot diameter asteroid hit. Pretty next level. You think that would stir up the energy a bit. Here's the Wetumpka Chamber of Commerce, which is very haunted. The 3rd floor especially. They say there's a spirit of the original bank owner and his daughter, but then a dark spirit, a huge shadow. Then some workers took apart a scarecrow they found, and then soon enough, it was pieced back together and moving around the bank. How crazy! So there is a cursed scarecrow in these walls. Super rad. I'm keeping an eye out for the Coosa River serpent here on the water. It is a sea dragon described with a horse's head and a snake-like body, black on top with a white underbelly. In the 1800s, when one was actually captured and killed, they sliced open his stomach and found a man on his canoe inside. There have been dozens of sightings since. I think it's connected to Nessie, to the Lake Erie Monster, to the Pensacola serpent. What a legendary place. In 1954, there was a fireball in the sky. It was spotted by 3 states. It broke apart and crash landed here in town and actually struck a woman in her hip. The picture is pretty rad. There's a huge black mark on her. The Hodges meteorite, 1954. Extraterrestrial? Huh. Hey, I'm Connor from Bigfoot Anon, and I'm always on the hunt for the next big adventure. When you're on the trail for long hours, you build up quite the stench, enough to drive any skunk ape or yeti away. Luckily, I'm on the quest now for the solution to all my problems. Yeti bars. They do exist. Available in tons of different scents and fragrances. Check out yetibars.net for more and use my code BA10 for a special offer. Clean like a beast. Yeti bars!